Good afternoon, YouTubers. Working on my 2008 Ford Taurus X. It has a 3.5 liter V6. I'm sure this will be similar for many Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury models that have 3.5 in it. I'm replacing the Evap canister, which is right next to the fuel tank, which is on the passenger side underneath here. Just going to go through it real quick because I had never done it before and I did not see a video on it. So getting to it is not that difficult. However, if yours does, is separate like this one, like this is the one that came off of it. If yours does not have this shield already installed, you're going to have to drill one fastener that is riveted to the canister in order to remove it. So you'll have to just drill out that one single rivet because I did not see any other way to do it. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory. And then once you get under here, hold on one second. Once you get under here, it's you can just swing it around, basically this little shield. You just sort of pivot it around to get it out of your way. You don't have to remove it all the way if you don't want to, because that one is riveted to the frame. Everywhere else is just secured with nuts, so I have no idea why they didn't just secure all of it with nuts, because this is original from the factory, the way this one is assembled. And it's never been touched before. And I believe you should remove the fuel pump relay and then crank the car over a few, for a few moments to drain fuel out of the fuel line, which is right here. Otherwise, you will get a nice drenching of fuel as it empties this line when you disconnect it right up here. Let me get a flashlight here. Self-explanatory on how to remove that. You just sort of poke it open with a screwdriver. But yeah, you should remove the fuel pump relay, and that way it will empty this line before you try to disconnect this. Otherwise, it will spray nicely for a couple of seconds, as you disconnect it. Or just make sure you put a drip pan or something underneath it. But it will spray when you disconnect that line. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory. It's got a couple of miscellaneous little hoses and things that are pretty easy. Some of these clips here, like this guy here and that one there, there's sort of those typical... See if I can find the clip that came off of it. They have these little U-clips like this that basically feed through it like a horseshoe, and you just have to poke them upward to get them out of the way. Then you can pull them off. Now the electrical connector, this guy here, was not easy to remove. I monkeyed with this stupid thing for a good half hour so that I didn't break it. And I was prying on it and pushing on the little tab correctly and everything, and it would not budge. So you just have to be very diligent with it. This stupid thing right here, man, you have to pry, up on it and pry back on it with a little pick or something. I had to use an assortment of little picks and things, just to get it to budge, because I didn't want to break the thing. And so, if you look at it closely, hold on, let's get some light going on here. Well, bear with me one second. It looks obvious of how it should come apart. It has a little tab right there that you'll push down, and then you should pull it apart from the connector, which is this guy here. I know it's dark under here, so sorry you can't see that. Just use some assortment of picks and things to disconnect that line right there. Everything else looks pretty self-explanatory. It's just secured with little nuts and things. And I've been getting, I don't have the code right offhand of what I was getting, but it was saying that there was a problem with the gas cap, which there was not, because the gas cap had been replaced, and I also replaced the Evap little solenoid up in the engine compartment. That didn't fix it either, because I reset the computer of the car, and in 200 miles the code came back. So a shop did a little smoke test for me, and they told me it was this guy itself. And you know, you can get them used from junkyards and on eBay, but I do see that this piece here is loose, and it is, see, it's tabbed into the canister itself, so I have no idea anything else. But you can buy this whole assembly here, you know, either at a junkyard or eBay or whatever. It wasn't insanely expensive, but I recommend you get it with the entire shield and everything already attached. That way you won't have to drill out this stupid rivet that way it comes from the factory. Anyway, everything else is pretty obvious on how it's removed and reinstalled, so, but I just didn't see any videos on it. So I just wanted to give y'all some info on what I've found doing it. And once again, this is a 2008 Ford Taurus X. 0809 is the same. Other Lincoln and Mercury and maybe some Mazda vehicles that have a 3.5 in it may have the similar location for it and all that, because I replaced this solenoid back here and it did not solve the problem. So anyway, just going through it here, just did an oil change on this guy, and you know, it's not the sexiest car in the world, but it definitely runs well, and a very peppy vehicle. It's got 162,000 miles on it. I bought it for next to nothing just a few months ago, and have been doing all kinds of little fixes and improvements and things like that to it, and very pleased with it. Oh, and I highly recommend you get some of these ramps. See these ramps underneath? They're like, I believe they're called Rhino ramps. You can get them at most big box stores, Walmart and that sort of thing. They are priceless on getting the car off the ground easily. I use them for just about everything. And that's pretty much it. But yeah, check out our other videos. We got all kinds of little repair jobs and whatnot for this car. And we might be able to help you out in the future, because we replaced all kinds of stuff on the interior, and stereo speakers and switches and air conditioning related, you know, all the actuators and things, replaced all that stuff in it. So there's all kinds of videos that we've done previously, so check out our other stuff, and maybe there's something else that'll help you out in the future. And you know, motorcycles, cars, lawnmowers, dirt bikes, we do a little bit of everything around here. So check out our other videos. We shall see y'all soon.